your elder years. You hear a lot these days about elder care. How do you want to spend your later years? Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our young guest. There's many choices. You may have heard the expression a few years ago, Freedom 55. What they forgot to say is, you might have the freedom, but are you fit? Are you healthy? Is your brain functioning properly? How many have heard of dementia? Those that haven't, you may be getting it. No, I'm just kidding. The question is, what's your picture? Do you want to be healthy, fit? And I was talking to one of my clients yesterday. I said, it's pretty clear that both of your sons are heterosexual. So there's a real good chance that you're going to be a grandfather. Just making a little correlation there. And if that's the case, are you going to be fit to participate with your grandchildren? What's the picture that you have? You can think of the picture you're working with your kids now, but think of the picture out here. Like, for example, my grandson and I got together and rode our bikes from Victoria to Langford. He's 10 years old. Then we put our bikes on the bus and went to Soup Potholes. Well, you can't take the bus right to Soup Potholes, but so then we went up the Galloping Goose to the end, to the Souk River, where the Leech River joins. Then we went across the river, and then we rode back in on the other side. He's 10. At that time, I was 75. Do you want to be able to do that with your grandchildren? I want to be able to keep doing it with my grandchildren till I'm in my 90s. How do you keep sharp? How do you keep alert? How do you keep your brain active? Well, there's 3 major diseases that we have to watch out for. What do you think these major diseases are these days?
Procrastination.
You got it. Procrastination is the #1 disease. But normally people would say heart disease or diabetes, and dementia. But there's 2 more. And I'll talk about these at another time. But one's retirement. More people die of retirement than anything else. Watch for that. But here's the kicker. AADD. That's Adult Adventure Deficit Disorder. And what happens is people start just staying at home, watching TV, and not getting out and taking little adventures. And part of why that happens is because they tend to think they're stressed out. Oh, I'm stressed. They did a little experiment with mice. They took the mice and put them into a very rich environment. Not mice, they're scrambling around and looking for things and they're really excited. Well, that's what you want to stay. But what happens is they took those mice and they eradicated their hippocampus. Now, I don't think as many of us are going to get our hippocampus eradicated or irradiated. But that's what stress does. It sends little things in there to kill it. And so pretty soon, you just get cocooned into your little home watching your TV and forgetting to get out and take a look around. Now, how do you combat AADD? Kedging. You said, what? Kedging. That's the secret. Kedging. In the book, Younger Next Year, he talks about kedging. Kedging is a sailing term, and in the old days of sailing, when the sail the big sailing ship would come into a harbor, and if there wasn't any wind, they would send a rowboat ahead and put in an anchor and then pull to the rowboat. And that's how they would get into the harbor. You have to do the same thing to combat AADD. You have to have a fitness adventure. You say, I'm going to do the Camino. How many have heard of the Camino? The Santiago de Compostela, hike across northern Spain. It's been around for 1,200 years. Oh,
Never heard of it.
you did so. You say, I am going to hike the Camino. 800 kilometers. But once you make the picture of doing that, and you have a picture of doing it in your mind, you start preparing. The key is to have a fitness adventure and then prepare for it. Now, how do you prepare? Well, you read some books. Get your mind going. You do pictures of being there. You get fit for the experience. And that's what I did a couple of years ago. I said, my buddy, I was talking to him in Hawaii. He said, you want to do a hike? I said, sure. I was thinking somewhere in Hawaii. I said, when? He said, April. I said, where? He said, oh, we fly into Madrid. I went, what? That's when I found out about the Camino. If you want to be alert and alive in your elder years, you have to start kedging and creating fitness adventures. And then last year I did the Via Francigena, which is a similar hike in Italy. About 300 kilometers from Tuscany down through Italy. And that was an experience because we get lost a lot. But then again, as my friend in Hawaii said, an explorer is never lost. So fundamentally, we were never lost. Never lost. What is your adventure? What adventure are you going to take to combat AADD? Start it now. Get a picture and plan for it. And we won't have to worry about looking after you in your elder care years. Mr. Toastmaster.